Megan here. So I finally dug up this fucking study, right? When I was looking for the CAP study for you guys, through the popular demand, everyone wanted to have the link to the CAP study about why stretching is important for muscle growth, and I had to go to my old laptops that are like disengaged, and because I have my study spread out in like several laptops, especially the ones that fucking died on me. I went back, put them on safe mode, and when I found the CAP study, I also found a bunch of other studies that I had saved. I told you guys I have a library of studies in this fucking brain, man, and some of them I just completely forgot the link because they were in my old laptops. But anyway, that allowed me to dig up a lot of the old ones, and this one is on. Again, I was getting a lot of questions because I made a video years ago about how training legs or doing heavy compound movements to release testosterone and all these hormones will transition into the other muscles if you're also training them. Meaning doing squats and then doing arms or shoulders will lead to more growth. And I made a video about that years ago, and eventually, obviously, over time, new subscribers come in, go back to the old videos, and everyone kept asking me, "Oh, I saw that video, but the link to the study wasn't there." Da, da, da. So I tried to go online, couldn't find the study, and eventually, like I said, I dug it up when by accident when I found the link to the CAP study, because this is old. I mean, this was like in 2011 when that study was released. But pretty much, it backs up the whole concept of focus on heavy compound movements first, then do your fucking isolation and other bitch movements, which are also necessary, and you get a better response. And I know a lot of I can't tell you how many comments I got on that video when I first made. People were like, "Oh my god, that's not true. That's bro science. The acute rise in hormones, does not affect hypertrophy." And I keep telling you guys, it does. It does. You just gotta find the right study design, and you also gotta understand the way the body works. Right? The body rarely, it does, but rarely does things just randomly. It's just that science is an evolving field, so we always finding new molecules, new chemicals, new proteins and things like that, and that allows us to reevaluate, old studies, and it also depends on the way the study was designed. For example, when I found, I don't just find a study and then make a video on it. That's not the way it should work. You want to look at the overwhelming body of evidence. You just want to look at the anecdotes. I found that whenever I lifted heavy first, I was not only stronger in my other lifts, but I also got better gains in the long run. Now, there was also a study that showed that the rise in hormones didn't affect hypertrophy. It's because in that study, if you look at it closely, it was the other way around. They did arms first, and then they did legs. So of course, the result was different because when they did legs, the hormones were released. Yeah, but that was it. They went home after that shit. Whereas the study that showed the significant increases in arm size when you train legs, did legs first, then when ahead, it did arms. So when you do legs first, you have all these hormones released in your blood. You go out there and do arms. I mean, it's common sense. Those hormones are being shuttled, into the subsequent muscles. So when I do my full body workouts, I always focus with the heaviest, biggest lifts first, as much as I can before I move on. When I was doing rack pulls, I would do rack pulls first. When I was doing the squats, I would do the squats first, and then on and on and on. So you gotta be very careful at not only what studies you're looking at. Remember, don't just rely on studies alone. Look at applications. Does it work for other people? Does it work for you? Does it work for people that you train? And again, it works. It works on the people that I train. It worked on myself. And if you don't believe it, again, give it a try. Just try. Matter of fact, this is something you could actually test this week. If you do a full body workout, try to switch the order up. Right? Do like heavy squats first, or heavy rack pulls, or whatever. Then go out and do your arm movements or your shoulder exercises and see how significantly stronger you are. Guarantee you. And now again, that might not have anything to do with the hormones, even though testosterone does, convert it to GHT and things like that. But just to show you that the strength increase alone is enough, even if the hormones didn't change. The strength increase is enough to let you know that you're going to be able to make better gains, because obviously if you're stronger, you can do more hard sets and you can recruit more muscle fibers quicker. As opposed to if you weaker. So check out the study, look at the full text. Don't just read the abstract. Go into this discussion, go into the study design. and you see. So yeah, my recommendation still holds. I really believe that and then not only the rise in hormones will lead to bigger gains, but you also getting more androgen receptors. It's another thing people forget is that there's a big correlation. Again, doesn't necessarily mean causation, but it's a big correlation between the acute spike you get in hormones during heavy compound movements, and the increase in androgen receptors that happen almost at the same time. So you also get more androgen receptors, in your body. And as far as people thinking, well, another thing I forgot to mention is the only difference between the group that did arms only and the group that did legs and then arms, the only difference was the change in hormones. That was the only difference. That was the main difference, and they try to standardize everything so they could literally see, well, what led to that, what was the biggest correlation. The group who did that only did arms and no legs had no significant changes in hormone levels, no significant changes at all. But the group that did obviously legs first had this huge boost in androgens, which is obviously expected based on all the studies on the topic. So, again, correlation doesn't mean causation, but like I always say, it's a good place to fucking start looking, right? So, hope that answers your question. This is gonna be the study of the week, and let me know what you guys want me to go over for next week's study of the week. All right. So, hope that helps. Comment below, like the video if you fuck with Chicken 3D, and dominate.